Rated Gen Z, where real talks get real. Each episode dives deep into the minds of 18 to 24-year-olds, exploring their dreams, struggles, and perspectives that most people never hear. We're diving into the chaos that defines a generation everyone talks about, but nobody actually listens to. This isn't just a podcast. This is a generation speaking. Welcome to Rated Gen Z podcast. I'm coming to you from beautiful sunny San Diego in Balboa Park. And it's really cool that this is one that I get to do in person.
Yeah, beats Zoom for sure.
Yeah, so Haydn, you want to, I guess, you can give an intro as to like how we met, who you are.
My name's Haydn Ellinger. I'm a freshman at San Diego State University. I'm going to hope the plane doesn't make a lot of noise.
I know, that is what happens when you live or when you're close to the airport.
Yeah, but I'm a freshman at San Diego State. I'm studying film and new media with an emphasis in production. I'm hoping to become a filmmaker here in sunny San Diego. I had the honor of hearing about this podcast at I don't even know how to describe it. It was like a
networking community event?
Yeah, a San Diego networking community event about building a studio in San Diego, which is something I'm very interested in. And I asked a question and you reached out after.
As soon as you said I'm a student at San Diego State, I was like, ooh, he's my demographic.
Yeah. And then, I just showed up. It's a nice, beautiful Friday out. And
and the reason why I went to this event, because I am new to this kind of entertainment space.
Right.
And having a podcast, you've got the editing piece of it. You have, there's just so many elements, like podcast studio. Clearly, I don't have a podcast studio because we're here sitting outside. So I thought, you know what, let me go and meet people. And my goal now when I go to these events, because it can be overwhelming, is if I can meet one person that is like worthwhile and something came out of it, then it was worth it. Right. And so clearly it was worth it for me because you were the only person I spoke to. So thank you.
Networking, and that was hard. Me personally, it's like I'm 18 years old and everyone there was like in their 30s and they're like, I didn't know who to network with. Okay. Because I feel like if I asked for tips from like a seasoned San Diego filmmaker, they would have just been like, it sucks. Like I've worked my ass off.
Yeah. Well, the fact
that... Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
yes,
awesome.
You can.
That's great.
That's why I kind of like the rated Gen Z, because like rated R.
Let me silence my phone real quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I'm not bothered.
No, it's all good. But I just wanted to like commend you for the fact that you're 18 and you took the opportunity to go network and meet people. And not many people your age, I think, would kind of get out of their comfort zone and do that.
Yeah.
Did you end up meeting more people when I left?
Yeah, I met.
As soon as I met you, I was like, peace, I'm out.
Yeah, it was loud, but yeah, I talked to a few people, most of them around my age, because they stuck out to me. Okay. I met this one alum from SDSU who studied like sound design. And I got his contact. I met this one girl because my friend was wearing like a band hoodie that she recognized. But she runs like this. She doesn't run. She works for this like film support company that like takes your prompts. Like you submit your prompt, and if it aligns with their vision, they help create your film, like help produce it for you.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, I didn't even know stuff like that existed here. And I talked to a few other people. And yeah, it was overall pretty successful. I was more excited for figuring out what like this entertainment like complex was gonna be about, and I'm hoping it's beneficial to young filmmakers when it's eventually completed 5-6 years later.
Yeah, I do hope so, that they actually make a like effort and are intentional about kind of mentoring and guiding young filmmakers too. Right. Like I hope that they do have a program like that in place, or at least once again try to help and are intentional about it. So are you from San Diego originally?
Yeah, so I was born, both my parents are retired military. They were both officers. Okay. And I was born in Rhode Island. I lived there for a few months, and I lived in Virginia for a few years. But I've been in San Diego. I live in Coronado, Coronado Island. And I've been there since I was in like preschool. So I went through the entire school system in Coronado. Luckily, I don't know how they scored that with being military. They didn't get sent anywhere or anything. But yeah, and I graduated Coronado High School. I was in Coronado High School's film program, and I didn't really want to go up to LA or to New York. So I decided just to stay here, and I commute to school, and I'm hoping to make an impact here for film if I can.
Wow. So where in Virginia? Is it Norfolk, Virginia Beach?
I think Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I was going to say, I lived in Virginia for 24 years.
Oh, yeah?
And then moved back here 2.5 years ago. So that's why I'm also trying to kind of get back into the community.
Way less mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but it gets humid out in Virginia, and then it's freezing right now. But you said you didn't want to be in New York or LA.
Well,
which I understand.
LA. I don't want to be in LA.
Yeah, you had mentioned that you were just at a film festival in New York. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I was, when I was still a senior in high school, I submitted, I think, 3 of my films, and then my friend submitted one we co-directed together, and they were all accepted, which was like crazy. And the 3 films I submitted were all award nominees. And this is like, I don't know if they advertise it like this or it's actually true, but it's the biggest like high school level film festival in the country.
Oh, wow.
So I went out there and I stayed and I went to all the screenings and the panels, and I met a bunch of cool people. And it was a really great experience. I mean, it definitely motivated me to come back and keep making stuff. I was nominated for a best experimental, best like horror / sci-fi / fantasy, and then something called the Maverick Award, which is basically like best visual storytelling. And after, because they kind of tell you over email like one of your films has been nominated, so I thought it was just going to be one, and I didn't think I was going to win. But 3 nominations was like super very impressive. I'm super thankful for that. That was really an exciting experience.
So did it give you the opportunity to like meet certain people and take you to the next level, or is it kind of like, all right, you won these awards, like now you get to go home and now figure out what to do with it?
It was kind of like the latter. I mean, most kids there were a bit younger than I was, because I went there in like the first month of my freshman year in college, and most of these kids were high school juniors and seniors.
Oh, that's right. You said high school. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't meet anyone who could like pull me up, but I definitely met a bunch of people who share like minds with me and like the same passion, and I've definitely been there to help them. Like I gave like a bunch of script feedback to this one kid who reached out, and it's just small stuff like that. It just like the people you meet, doesn't matter like how beneficial they are for you. It's like if you can lend a helping hand, I think that's very important.
No, I think that's a great way to look at it for sure. I mean,
I've been in that position before. Yeah.
I'm like, if I can, kind of help you in some way by having you on the podcast, and like that's what it's all about for me. So with film, you said both your parents are in the military. Were they like film people?
No, not even close. I mean, my dad was he was a Marine. He was an artilleryman, and then my mom was a captain and a Commodore as well. Yeah, she's
I'm like, that sounds pretty badass.
Like warrior mom. But yeah, I mean, they were always very supportive. But they didn't really have like film background. I mean, they know every actor from their generation. They've watched a bunch of movies, more movies than I have. I mean, that's like my one guilt as a film enjoyer is that I don't watch anything. Everyone's like, "Have you seen that?" I'm like, no.
I don't know. I feel like there's something to be said about that, because then you're coming from a place that's like really just like innocent and kind of just untouched in a way. And
like I've seen enough of the classics. I haven't seen all of the classics, but I definitely can see in each project I do or like conceptualize in my head what I'm taking inspiration from, because my sample size is so small, but I don't mind it.
What is your creative philosophy?
Yeah, I don't know, just stuff that inspires me.
Yeah,
just ideas that I think of in my head. I mean, I don't think I have an overall message or like thing I'm trying to tell, but just stuff that comes to mind that I think is cool.
Okay, and
that's where I'm at right now.
So then, like, was this something that you have kind of figured out when you were younger, or did it take time?
Well, my high school film class, we were fortunate enough to have the equipment. The curriculum wasn't really there because we were switching out teachers like every single year. It was like the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher from Harry Potter. Like the job was actually cursed. because they couldn't hold a teacher, and each teacher they got was awful, and
Oh, no.
so there was no actual curriculum, but they had the just enough money to get us cameras and lenses and all that good equipment. So it was a very, very self-sufficient class in a way, because most of the class was like, here's a slideshow, your project, do a director emulation, make a film, go. Like, go into your editing booth and sit there for like 2 months straight.
Figure it out.
Like, yeah, I think I spent more time, because the classroom was like the classroom and then some editing booths, and I think I spent more time in the editing booths than the actual classroom itself.
Oh, okay.
Like that entire class, it was like confined. I felt like a test subject, like a little hamster.
Maybe, you never know, might have been the test, like, you know.
I mean, definitely, I was the curriculum test subject. But I mean, now that there's an actual curriculum, the kids who are in it today probably aren't getting as much creative freedom as I did. Which I'm honestly thankful for, because even if I dreaded like going to the class and sitting through it, I was still able to 3 times a year rent out the equipment, go shoot something, like whatever I wanted to do, write my own story, you know, in like a loose prompt. And I think that's what a lot of those film classes are missing. Just like give your kids a chance to just like pour out all their creative energy. And I mean, some kids have more than others, but
yeah,
I was really given that opportunity, and that definitely helped me develop a more creative mind. Because if I was just making prompts like make a fight scene, like make a 1-minute fight scene, like I don't think I would have been where I am today.
Okay. I mean, that's really good feedback to kind of just, you know, hey, let your students just let them kind of be creative and let it flow.
The sad thing is it doesn't work for everyone, and I think I recognize that, because some kids are just like interested, but they don't know what they're doing. So some people do need guidance. I mean, I've been editing and like making YouTube videos since I was like 10. Like I've been like, I watched YouTube, a bunch of YouTube as a kid. I'm like, I want to do that. Like I want to be a Minecraft YouTuber. I'm sure like every Gen Z kid can say they wanted to be a YouTuber at some point. But yeah, I mean that gave me the experience, and then I just like carried it on to making movies. I was in my middle school's broadcasting class too, so that helps me get experience with cameras, because we had a live broadcast every single day. Yeah. I don't know how they did it, but our middle school had a live broadcast every single day, and it was good. It was actually like surprisingly good. I think it fell off because of COVID, but like when I was in it, it was pretty solid. Like it was a solid class.
Wow.
I think I've been thrown all over the place, but that definitely let me pinpoint like where I want to be, like in media and in tech and all that film related stuff.
I mean, obviously it's like a difficult industry to be in, because I feel like it's just like they mentioned at the event about how it's really hard to kind of get in with the in crowd. And so what motivates you to like continue to keep going every day, knowing that it is kind of an uphill battle and it is difficult? Like, what is it about this industry that you're like, no, I'm going to keep doing it?
In the least selfish way possible. I don't genuinely believe this, but I tell myself that I'm an exception. Like I'm better and I will make it. Just like kind of affirmations, I guess. Like whenever I hear someone in the industry be like, it's so hard all the time, I'm just like, I just try and think of like what I've already done, and like I'm like, I can keep pushing it, even if it's not necessarily true. I just keep telling myself that, and I think it'll pan out pretty well. And I just try my best to keep creating. I don't get sucked into like I try and recognize when I'm getting sucked into a routine that I don't like. Like if I'm working like 5 days a week at my job at a restaurant, like I try and like allocate time for film, like never really forget about why I'm doing that stuff in the first place. Because I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people. They are trying to make it, and then they just get sidetracked with life, and then they just lose it, you know?
Well, and also they allow like the outside noise.
Exactly. Just all those negative people who didn't make it, because there's a lot of them. A lot of people don't make it.
Unfortunately, and they're bitter, and so then they kind of don't want to see somebody else succeed.
Right. That's why I said I was worried about talking to some of those older filmmakers, because I'm sure they're all wonderful people, but there's definitely a lot of those 25 to 30-year-old filmmakers who are still kind of getting on their feet a little bit later than they expected, and they're mad about it, and they're going to tell you their own skewed perspective of the industry. You know, I'd rather meet someone who like, and you're also not going to be talking to the people who did succeed. They're going to be off and they're doing their own thing.
We're not talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be on set right now shooting a film. Like they're going to be putting those hours in. So I don't know. I mean, I just try and say that like, I kind of don't listen to when they're like, the industry's super hard. You know, if it bites me in the ass, it bites me in the ass. But I like to keep an optimistic like mindset about it.
I think you have to have that. I mean, that's like the same thing for me. Do you know how many freaking podcasts are
Yeah.
out there?
Too many.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm turning 50 this year and I'm
Mhm.
just like starting to do something that is pretty saturated already.
Yeah.
But I believe that I'm doing something different. I believe that I'm doing something that not many people are doing.
Mhm.
So it's like I have to believe in myself and kind of take a risk on myself and bet on myself. All of those things.
Yeah.
There's almost a sense of like being delusional.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Having like an ego that you don't really deserve.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like those are the people that actually do end up succeeding and
Right.
doing something and making a difference because, yeah, you kind of have to live in like a delusional world and
Yeah.
believe that, yeah, that you're going to be the exception.
Then just like work towards that. I don't know, because it's easy to swamp yourself down with like, oh, it's hard and it's going to be hard for me. It's like, I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a value in going at your own pace while also like understanding what you must do to like succeed, but also like trying to make it as uniquely yourself as possible. Because that's, at the end of the day, that's like who you are. You're yourself, and you're going to push yourself up, and like it's going to be your success. Like you're going to have people who help you, and of course, and it's like I'm kind of all over the place right now, but you gotta be your own person with your success, I think.
No, I agree. And I think it's kind of interesting the fact that you said that you haven't really watched a lot of films, that you're kind of not really exposed to that all the time, so that there is something about that that I feel like is an advantage, because you're not trying to emulate anybody, you're not trying to like copy them, you're not trying to say I want to be this particular person. Like you're just coming from a place of like, this is who I am, and this is what I mean, I believe you're doing what makes you happy and what feels right to you.
Yeah, I mean, when I like, there are some kids, I don't know, in my high school experience, there were a bunch of kids who I saw that have watched like every movie, and they knew like all the stuff, but they didn't really have the passion for it. Like they just watched a bunch of movies, but then they kind of just tapered out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a shame, because like you put so much investment into watching these things and studying these things, but I think there's a part of it that is, I think there's value in like its ambiguity in a way.
Yeah.
Like I like that I haven't seen every movie. I like that I can still have ideas, and more often than not, if I do something that I think is unique and someone's like, oh, I've seen that in that movie, I'm like, oh, cool. Like they did it before I did, but I mean, I still kind of thought of it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's what. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, how neat would that be for people to say like, oh, that reminds me of this film or this director, and you're like, well, I don't know because I didn't see that. So that was like an idea that you had.
Yeah, I mean, even in the films that I have made, there's clear like inspiration from stuff. I mean, my So It Goes film it's based off Slaughterhouse-Five, like just completely based off of it, because it was actually my AP Literature class final. He made us make a short film, and I was like, all right, like that's my whole thing. Like I can totally do that. And then I had another film with Valor, which was a World War I film, and that was very like clearly inspired by like 1917 and All Quiet on the Western Front, which are both movies I love. I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front, but I love
clearly,
its vibe.
There's the military
correlation. And I mean, my parents jumped on that. Like my dad has always been into like props and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like he has a bunch of like Star Wars props at home because he loves Star Wars, and he was like, let's get on Amazon. Like we're gonna make this like uniform as accurate as we can. I'm gonna go get a gun from the VFW. Like they gave me a model rifle from like the First World War. It was crazy. So I think like moving on from that, I think like the best advice I've ever been given is just like you got to know people. So that's why I go to events like that. I just try and meet as many people as I can, even if I may never talk to them again.
Yeah.
It's just like knowing someone and like remembering their presence and having them remember your presence. It can take you places like you can't even imagine, because like all of the successes I've had in film, which are, you know, I'm only 18, so they not a lot, but they've all been from kind of by luck, from people that I've known who have helped me out, and have kind of just like given me a little bit of a push, and given me the ability to like do what I want.
Well, I believe that's why I'm able to do what I'm doing as well, like leaving my corporate job and going all in with this, because I've managed to meet so many people and build so many amazing relationships. And they have all been incredibly supportive, and it's like, let me help you with something, or I know someone. And at the end of the day, like, it's my community and network of people that I trust are going to help me make this successful. I mean, obviously I have to be pretty good at what I do and hardworking as well, but if you have those people that believe in you, they're going to help.
Exactly.
And they're going to, you know, give you that push. So I'm glad that you acknowledge that, because that is still tried and true. You know, it's like there's still things that are pretty basic. And it's the who you know.
Yeah, especially in film. Know. I mean, it's completely a people-based industry.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get any work if you don't know anybody doing it. Like, and that's what I like. It's like merit is one thing, like the quality of your work. You can keep making stuff, but like, I mean, to be honest, you can't be making stuff if you don't know anybody. Yeah. Like, it's just not going to work out like the way you want it to.
Yeah. And not only that, like, I think you're going to need help along the way. Like, I've had to ask for help, or I'm one of those people that it's kind of a control freak and thinks that, like, I can do everything on my own and figure it out. Yeah. And I've learned that I have to just give in and be able to ask for help when needed, because if not, I'll spend more time and energy like trying to figure it out when I could have just simply asked for help, and it could have saved me.
I feel the same way. Like, I definitely, like, more so during like my film projects in high school, which were kind of like, I was also like a control freak in that sense. Like, when I would make a short film in high school, I would try and do every single thing. And like, it was hard because for our assignments, we would be required to direct, produce, edit, shoot, like write everything.
One-man show.
Like, one man everything. You could have the other kids in the film class like on your set, like as grips or like maybe lighting, but everything was your creative vision. And I was doing it, and my least favorite part was producing. I hated producing. I hated like calling up like actors like in our school's theater department and being like, hey, can you act? And they're like, oh, when do you want to
is that let me ask you this, because I am always confused as to what the producer's role actually is. Like, it's raising the money, capital, right? But then it's also like,
but I mean,
said, like,
for a high school, like, I don't think I'll
you're
ever.
Like a high school producer is very different.
A high school producer is calling your friends and being like, I need your help, and then like making your spreadsheets and making your prop lists and stuff, and all that's what felt like. It was like all the logistics of making it, which is what I didn't like. I like being like artsy and like making the films, but I think outside of high school, it's way different. It's mainly about money. It's like just controlling like the flow of the cash and making sure like it all gets in the same place. Like, I honestly have no experience producing in because I haven't made any like big things yet, but I probably won't produce. I'll just get someone else to do it. I'll pay them to do it because like, once you do all those jobs and you're in control of everything and you're super stressed, it kind of makes you realize like, there's so many people on film sets, and it alleviates so much pressure from the director. And it's like kind of a blessing. Like, ideally I would work on a film set with maybe like 5-6 people, just to keep it small and tight knit, but like also to have like a dispersion of all the stress.
So you don't envision yourself being like that film director that does like a Marvel movie then? Because that you're gonna need like,
I mean, like, maybe eventually, but I mean,
more like indie film then.
Indie film right now. I mean, I couldn't imagine myself in Hollywood yet. Maybe when that studio in Chula Vista gets built, I'll be running big productions. But at that point, it's like a whole different type of filmmaking. Yeah. Because you're not really making something that speaks to your soul most of the time. You're making someone's corporate pitch that they pitched to Universal or Warner Bros. Or whoever. And
then you're gonna find.
And then like, you just have a name that's on fire, so they just like select you to do it. But I don't know. I've been more focused on just writing these scripts that hopefully people are interested in, and whether through crowdfunding or like interpersonal funding, just trying to make something that gets recognition, gets in film festivals, and then just kind of building a name for myself. I feel like that's what my whole age range is about in this industry. Because like, I wouldn't want to go onto a studio as a director. I have no experience. Like, I want to be able to fail, and I want to be able to be humbled, and then hopefully just make stuff that's like enjoyed by a bunch of people, you know? So
then are you, with the projects that you currently have done and completed, like, are you trying to promote those, or are you working on a new project already?
I'm working, I'm in a very, very rough pre-production for a new project. I'm co-writing a script with my buddy, who he never even did film, but he kind of like realized that's what he wanted to do, like in high school. And I was like, all right, let's write a film together. And it's a very personal story about something that I've never experienced. I won't talk too much, but it's basically about a young adult struggling with sleep deprivation, and he's basically poorly coping with his father's suicide. And he's kind of like in denial about it. And it's something that I personally haven't like experienced. Like I've never dealt with like a real like suicide in my life, fortunately. So it's something that I'm trying to like write very sensitively and not try and like desecrate, because I'm sure there's a million people out there who have that experience who could write the story more personal to themselves. But I think it's something that like I want to tell, because it's mainly about dreams and like monotony in life and something like that.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely working on it. I think this script is going to be in production for another like 6 to 8 months, because it's gonna we're trying to make a fully fleshed pre-production piece, so that when we do raise enough money to shoot it, we can just go in and do it and have it all planned out and not worry about it. But as for the films I've already made, I mean, yeah, I think All American was a great festival to have them in, but I think I'm just going to keep submitting them over and over to different festivals, because there was this one kid who I'm taking a lot of inspiration from. His name is Eon. I think he's based in LA, but he's a filmmaker roughly my age, and he's been super successful. He's been shooting ads for companies and editing a lot, and he went to All American and won Best Editing and won like $60,000, something crazy like that, like a $60,000 check. Or maybe it was like a scholarship for school or something. But either way, that's like a lot of money to be winning.
Yeah.
So I think this film festival is like, for the 4 solid projects you've already made, like why not just keep submitting it and like fingers crossed, hopefully winning some awards or stuff like that, or at least getting recognition, because then that could further fund like creative endeavors that I want to do.
Yeah, I thought that's like what people do actually.
Yeah.
Like my uncle is a film director in Mexico, actually pretty well known, but he was that guy that always was like in film festivals. He never went like mainstream.
Yeah.
On purpose, because it was just he had these like historical stories, and the cinematography was incredible, and it just wasn't mainstream. But he was constantly at like the Berlin Festival, the whatever festival. So I felt like that's what you do, is you just submit it to
just keep going and just pay those fees and just hope it works out. Because I mean, for All American, like I think in retrospect they kind of market it heavily as like the biggest one, because it's in New York City and they have all this money to spend. But then you have to pay for your tickets if you get in. You still need to pay your elite all access pass, which is like $350. So you can go. So most kids can't get in. They're expensive. I mean, at least I was in the Coronado Island Film Festival, I think last year in 23.
Okay.
And I didn't have to pay for that, fortunately, because I won. I won I didn't win an award, but I won like an official selection, and they let you go and attend your own panel if you want. Just super nice.
I'm going to connect you. I just, in my head, I'm already like, who am I going to connect him with? Okay, my old neighbor, he sits on the board for the Virginia Film Festival.
Oh, really?
And he just produced a film. He's got a ton of connections, so that would be kind of fun.
That would be really great.
I'm going to connect you with Owen.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's just like, that's like what I'm saying. It's about people. Like if they like my stuff and they're like, holy shit, this kid got some spunk to him, and they want to help me out.
He's ex-military.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, share with valor with him. I hope he would enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to do that. I love it, because when I'm talking to people, I'm already like in my head trying to figure out like, how I can connect the dots.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of this is showcasing you and amplifying your voice, and then hopefully people can connect with you, and then it just keeps going.
I appreciate that
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, no, exactly. I appreciate that. That's your goal, like a lot. That's like a really noble like goal to be having for your podcast.
Well, I appreciate that,
because you could easily just be trying to sell me supplements and like trying to like put me down a political pipeline or something like that.
That's the thing, is I feel like, obviously you're young, and here I'm going to be turning 50 and starting a whole new phase in my life. I feel like there comes a point to where it's not about you anymore. Like, we're very self-absorbed, and it's very ego driven, and I'm kind of in a place where like I don't want to be that person anymore, where I feel like it's about me, or I have to like, I don't know, I just like put the spotlight on other people. So it's like a nice feeling knowing that too, where I'm like, there's no freaking agenda here.
Do what you want.
I mean, the only thing is like, for instance, like even this hoodie that I'm wearing. So Lawville Clothing is Zach's company, and Zach's been on my podcast. He's 20 years old.
Oh, wow.
He actually does all my little short like editing clips. He does that, and like, I'm wearing his sweatshirt to represent and promote him, and to help with his clothing line as well. And it's the same thing. Like, he's not paying me to like say this. I just believe in like I love his sweatshirts, like great quality.
Yeah.
And I figured, and they're cool. So I'm like, why not? You know, if I can help him too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. So I want to ask you though, because I'm sure this is like one of those questions that anybody in film gets is like, what is your favorite movie?
God. Okay.
So, I had to ask.
So, like, realistically, none.
Oh, okay.
But if I had to pick one that I just is jaw dropping every time, it's probably The Revenant. With Leo DiCaprio.
Okay.
It's the film that won him an Oscar finally. He had to get mauled by a bear for it.
Oh, okay.
A CGI bear, but
oh, now I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
That movie, well, I've always been into history. Like I was a total history nerd. I still am. I've always just loved any history classes. Like I took both AP US History and AP Gov.
Okay.
And I'm still taking history classes in college just for the fun of it.
I feel like that is actually a good thing when you're doing film.
And it's 1820s, 18/1850s kind of Missouri, frontier like of America, and Leo DiCaprio plays the main character, Hugh Glass, who's based on a real guy, and it's a story about like revenge and redemption and all that, and he struggles to survive, and the shots are beautiful. And I rewatched it like on Monday, I think.
Okay.
With my dad, and I realized like it's just like it's shot so beautifully. Like the cinematographer did an amazing job, and it's shot on like I think a 14 millimeter, some wide lens that gives it just such a unique, distinct look.
Okay.
Compared to other like mainstream films, which are usually shot like on long lenses.
Yeah.
I was like, because I always wondered, I'm like, why does this film like stand out so much to me? And it's like, because it has that indie wide look, if that makes sense. Like in a lot of indie films, what the cinematographers try to do is they try and make it a little bit wide. Like I just got a Sony camera, and we got a 14 millimeter for it. It has like that aesthetic indie like wide look. And
is that the equivalent to? This might sound so naive. The equivalent to like the 0.5 on the iPhone. That wide lens that now is like really popular.
Yeah, something like exactly like that.
Right, see,
you got it. Yeah. And I realized like it's a pretty wide shot like film. That all things considered, like in all the action scenes, like it kind of bends and distorts, and it just looks really good. And it's a film like, if I had to pick any film to write about for like a school assignment, I always pick The Revenant just because like I've done it so many times, but I also just like, I don't know, I just appreciate it because it's like, it's history, but it's also like quality cinematography, and while it's mainstream and a lot of people know about it, it's kind of underrated in my opinion. Like I feel like it deserves a lot more attention.
Well, it's a Friday. I have zero plans tonight, so now I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean it's gory. It's pretty gory, so just be ready.
Right. I feel like I'll be okay.
Yeah, because I mean it's like, Leo DiCaprio gets mauled by a bear in one scene. It's messed up.
Yeah, but I feel like that is not as bad as like the violent kind of psycho type of gore.
Yeah, I mean it's just like kind of realistically sad because there's like there's the bear scene, and then there's like some other stuff, but it's good. It's really good.
I'll find out.
Yeah, you'll watch it tonight. I'm
gonna watch it tonight. Yeah. I think I definitely need to do that. Yeah, see, I'm like that cheesy girl that grew up. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s.
Yeah.
And
rom-coms all the way.
The John Hughes films. Yep. I have to tell you, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, like. I don't know what it is, but those just make me feel so good when I watch them.
Yeah.
Like there is something about it that's like so nostalgic, and it's just feel good movies.
I think girls today are still like that, and I respect it a lot because I mean, like, I don't know. I have a friend who has a girlfriend who showed him all the like Titanic or whatever, like all those like feel like not feel good. Titanic isn't that feel good.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say
all those romantic-esque films. And
basically unrealistic love.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's what we'll call it. It's not even like romantic. It's like just unrealistic love stories.
10 things I hate about you, like Mean Girl, like all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, that's kind of my younger generation for me. So even like Titanic, I was in college when that came out, but like the coming of age.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Coming of age. Is there something you relate about that? Like awkward?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something I was trying to harness. I mean, especially in this new project, it definitely is like a coming of age, kind of told from like, it's kind of coming of age after you're already grown in a way.
Well,
it's
that's
like,
kind of like me then.
It's like
I'm already grown and I'm kind of coming of age.
Well, Yeah, but I mean, this like I said in the script I'm writing, this character is like 19, 20 years old, and he's stable, but not. He's like financially stable because the house he lives in is already paid off, and it's just like passed down to him because his father is gone. But he just works a service job and just lives day to day and just tries to stay awake because when he falls asleep, he's tormented by these dreams that he doesn't understand. And it's something like that. It's like you can have everything. You can be in a situation where you don't need to like get yourself out of a hole, but you're still in a hole in your head.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I think that's something, at least with this new project, that's something I've been interested about writing. Because you get the usual like teenage coming of age stories where it's all good in the end, but like, you know, a motif I wanted to put in is that like, even as like the character, like what I wanted to do, which I probably won't do, is I wanted him to get a pack of cigarettes at the beginning of the film, having never smoked, and then try one, hate it, like cough all the time. But by the end of the film, when stuff is like getting better and he's figured it out, he's getting better at smoking.
Oh.
Yeah, just something kind of fucked like that.
Yeah, that would be kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Luckily, smoking makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
Like cigarettes. Bleh. But I'm gonna go ahead and like kind of wind this down. But I wanted to point out something that I think just part of with your attitude and everything that's really important, and it's something that I was talking about with an adult the other day about how like we forget that life is hard and things are hard and it takes work. So I love that already you understand how hard it's going to be, and you already have the attitude of like, well, no, I'm going to still, do it and push through and not let it deter me, because I think that's what happens is we want things to come to us easy. Yeah. And once it's not, it's like we give up. Yeah. So,
I think I'm at a point in my life where some philosophies I have like probably will turn out wrong or like bad or unhealthy or whatever.
Yeah.
But something that always like kind of stuck with me and that hasn't been proven wrong yet is like when I go through something that everyone says is difficult, I'm just kind of like, oh, that wasn't like too bad. Like it was hard, but like I'm not like dying.
Yeah. Like you survived.
Yeah. It's like I survived. I'm like, oh, that wasn't too bad. So I just like, I'm kind of going through my life being like, it won't be that bad.
Yeah.
Like even if it does get hard, I like come out and I'm like,
yeah.
Like I just kind of try and brush it off, and it hasn't bitten me in the ass yet.
Well, thank you, Haydn.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it, and hopefully this there weren't too many background noises. We got a plane, we got a motorcycle. There was like an ambulance. There were people talking. There
all
were
these
dogs
people. Got another plane coming
over here.
Yeah. Chasing squirrels and stuff.
I mean, it was life. Life still happened while we were sitting here, which is fantastic.
That's what I like about like doing a podcast in a park is like there's actual stuff going on around.
Yeah, like things are still happening. No one's stopping because we're here with a camera.
I'm over the studios. It just feels so sterile. I guess I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts either. I think I've listened to like 2 in my entire life.
Yeah, I'm not a big. That's what's funny is that I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I actually watch them. Like I watch maybe 2 or 3 and it's on YouTube because I'm a visual person.
Exactly.
And I want to see the person speaking and their mannerisms and what they look like and what they're wearing.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So that's why for me this is was really important. So I appreciate it, Haydn. And I guess when this comes out, we'll put your information out. I'll tag you on stuff so that people can reach out to you. And all right, well, thanks.
Yeah. Awesome.
If you enjoyed this episode and you're between the ages of 18 and 24 and would like to be a featured guest, go to rock.vision.